This is called pre-op rant. You are having surgery in 2 weeks. You wonder if you will wake up, and if so, how much pain you'll be in. You wonder if it will make a giant slit down your middle like the first time you had surgery, not counting getting your tonsils out. Or will the surgeon be able to do it with what he called small incisions? He didn't use the word laparoscopy. Maybe he thought you would not understand that word. Maybe he just couldn't pronounce it because it's a mouthful. Maybe he thought you just couldn't pronounce it. You wonder if a laparoscopy makes you more prone to infection because you read somewhere on the internet that it does. He nods. You marvel at the surgeon, not the one who will do this next surgery, but the young woman who 20 years ago managed to take out an ovary and her gallbladder in the same procedure with a laparoscopy. It was difficult, you were told, but she did it, despite the fact of your previous open surgery in the 70s. You know the pain of open surgery. Your osteopath said to take arnica pellets a few days before and right after the surgery. It helps with pain and healing, he said. You buy a bottle of arnica at Mother Earth. They have a new brand there since the last time you bought any. Not tiny round pellets, but little cubes you can pour directly from the jar into the cap. Sometimes you even remember to put some of them under your tongue. You wonder if you will wake up from the anesthesia, and you worry that if you don't, your daughter and friends will suffer. You think back to the time when you were on an airplane, and you were sure you were going to crash. You felt peaceful, but you worried about those who would be left behind. You wonder if, when you're dying, you'll know when you're dying, or if you'll know you're dead. You think that all the important people know you love them. You're thankful for your friends, for your daughter, and her boyfriend. He's a wonderful man who tells you that walking your grandson to school every morning is the best part of his day. You're grateful that he thinks of you as his mother-in-law. You're grateful that someone has her back. You adore your daughter. She will exhaust herself being in the hospital with you during your surgery. She will sleep in your room. They say that at Sloan they let your daughter do that. You remember what it was like to watch your mother age. You wonder if it is as hard for her as it was for you. You wonder if you really do want to be cremated after all. Maybe you want to be buried. Maybe not. Maybe you should specify that you want someone to sit with your body for 24 hours so your soul can leave, or so the Jewish tradition teaches. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not the cremation that's so worrisome. Is it the release and freedom of the soul what really matters? You wonder, what do you believe? But you have no idea, or maybe too many ideas to settle on any one thing. You look forward to it being over. Not your life, the surgery. You are concerned about whether the procedure will work or not, will do what it's supposed to do. That is, cure the illness for which you've been taking steroids for 5 years. Autoimmune, hemolytic anemia. A mouthful worse than laparoscopy. You sure as hell hope so, because if not, then why have you gone through all this? You'll just be back where you started. Thank God for prednisone. Love it, appreciate it, every minute of the day. So what if you don't tolerate it as well as you once did? So what if your body vibrates? So what if it toys with your emotions? Up 1 minute, down the next. So what if it gives you cataracts and osteoporosis? You're 3.5 inches shorter than you used to be, when your hair was long and sleek and black, and you were a head turner but never knew it. So what if your pancreas and adrenals are stressed? So what? During the years on this drug, you've been remarkably healthy. No colds even. 1 bout of mild flu last year. Pretty amazing and wonderful. You think about the possibility of infection during and after the operation because you know the steroids make you more susceptible. You wonder, if you live through the surgery, will you die from an infection? You wonder if you get to the ER in time, if you get an infection. You wonder who will be with you to help you decide if you're infected. You wonder if it will resist antibiotics. You worry about the local ER. Is it clean enough? Are the doctors there competent? You wonder if you should stay in New York the week following surgery so you'll be close to Sloan. Where would you stay? And you want to be home. Friends have offered to babysit you day and night according to your needs and wants. They will bring you food. You wonder who will drive you to your post-op visit with the surgeon. You wonder if you can get your mind to be quiet just a little, just for a minute or two. You put on your purple rubber gloves and wash the dishes in real and hot water. You try to pay attention to something other than your anxiety. Sometimes you're able to distract yourself. Spider, solitaire, and free cell work wonders. You are curious about life after prednisone. You can't remember what you were like before. You wish you'd done the surgery years ago when your hematologist first started hounding you about it. So what if you waited? So what that he's hounding you again now? Maybe if you'd done it years ago, the cure, if any, would have been temporary. Maybe this is the best time. Maybe if you'd done it before, it would have been a disaster. Maybe you would have died then. You think everyone is going to die. You know that everyone includes you. You think since you're going to die sometime, sooner or later, it makes no difference. It's comforting to think that, but at the same time, you don't want to die now. You remember a session with an Indian astrologer on the phone, Chandra or some such name. Years ago, he said you'd live a long time, longer than you wanted to. You didn't ask what this meant. Maybe it meant you'd outlive your loved ones. Maybe it meant you'd be a vegetable. Why didn't you ask about it? Probably you didn't want to know. You forget to ask a lot of things often. Are you scared or simply not curious enough? You go to the doctor. You think you've written down all the questions. And after you leave, you realize that you didn't follow up the answers with more questions. Questions you don't even think of until after you leave the office. You think about all the supplements and the other drugs you are taking, and you decide to stop taking them. Then you wonder if you ought to call the doctor for a refill on the nystatin you are taking for candida, because you read on the internet that nystatin helps prevent candida during surgery. You have an appointment with that doctor 6 days before the operation, but maybe you should call him today since you've run out of nystatin. You think about the various healers you have seen and about the ones you're going to see before the surgery. You wonder if you ought to be spending the money. Hell, yes. You wonder if you've started to like yourself enough so your body will stop making antibodies that attack your blood. You wonder if you did something to make yourself sick. You wonder if how you are living these 2 weeks is how you want to spend your last 2 weeks on Earth. Just trying to maintain some normalcy. You think you ought to be exercising, walking every day at the least. You think that if you knew you were going to die soon, you really knew it like you were on hospice or something, you imagine that you'd feel well enough to eat whatever the hell you want. Waffles drowned in real maple syrup. French fries with plenty of ketchup. Milkshakes, patty melts on rye, the cream filling in Oreos. Coke or root beer floats. Buckets of Haagen-Dazs exotic flavors. Ready Whip, all by itself. Buttercream frosting, and to hell with the cake. Peanut butter sandwiches on white bread with real jelly and not that fruit spread stuff. Grilled cheese sandwiches also on white bread. Macaroni and cheese, real runny. Not rice crackers. You think that if you die on the operating table, you won't have outlived your money. Maybe that's what Chandra meant. You don't want to outlive your money. Maybe he was saying, you'll live long enough to become a bag lady. There's not a lot of money left. Maybe 3, 4, 5 years, depending on how the market is. You think that if you die now, at the very least there will be something left for your daughter and grandson. You wonder, how can you cut down and live closer to what you get for Social Security? Maybe you can join a monastery or volunteer somewhere where your living expenses are paid. You can do this if you don't have to keep going for blood tests every week. You can do this if getting your spleen removed does what it's supposed to do. Are you allowed to live in a third world without a spleen? Your immune system will continue to be compromised, but not as bad as with prednisone. You wonder, Do you want to be conscious up until your last minute, or do you want to die in your sleep? You wonder, will you have a near-death experience in a hospital? You wonder, will you get back into your body? You think that maybe the worst thing about dying is that you won't be able to share the experience with anyone. You consider that in your last moments, you're searching for the words to describe what it's like to your friends, and then you feel sad because you won't be able to do that. Finally, you stop thinking you might die, and you hope you won't be in pain after the surgery because you have a pretty low pain threshold. What you really want, of course, is a full and complete recovery, without any complications. Same thing everybody else wants. Nothing unique about you or your desires. You look forward to being home, lying on your couch, and spending a couple of weeks watching bad television without guilt. You wonder if you'll ever have sex again before you die. That is, if you live through the surgery. And maybe when you're better, you'll put up a profile on Match.com or OkCupid. 71-year-old former hottie, still okay in the looks department, in fine health, too long celibate, seeks last hurrah, great sex, to fulfill bucket list. Any takers?